My uncle called me a disgrace, said I'd never amount to anything, and then slammed the door on my childhood. 20 years later, that same door creaked open, and there he was begging for my help. I was 10 when Uncle Ray, the patriarch of our sprawling family, decided I was the black sheep. My crime, I dared to dream beyond the small-town life he worshipped. My parents had passed in a car accident when I was 6, leaving me in the care of my grandmother, Ray's mother. She was kind, but Ray, he was a storm in human form, gruff, unyielding, and obsessed with family legacy. To him, my sketches of city skylines and stories of wanting to be an architect were a betrayal of our roots. "You think you're better than us," he'd snarl, his voice like gravel. By 16, I'd had enough. I packed a bag, left a note for Grandma, and ran to the city. Ray made it official. I was disowned. No family gatherings, no calls, no trace of me in their world. I was erased. The city wasn't kind at first. I slept in shelters, worked odd jobs, and clawed my way through night school. Every rejection, every cold night, I heard Ray's voice. "You'll fail, Lila." But I didn't. By 30, I'd built a life and architecture firm, a cozy house, a circle of friends who became my chosen family. I designed buildings that touched the sky, each one a middle finger to Ray's prophecy. Still, the ache of family lingered. I'd scroll through old photos, wondering if Grandma missed me, if my cousins ever asked about me. But Ray's ban was ironclad. I was a ghost to them. Then, on a rainy October evening, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Ray older, frailer. His once booming presence diminished. His coat was soaked, his eyes hollow. "Lila," he croaked, "I need you." My heart stopped. This was the man who'd called me worthless, who'd turned my family against me. Yet here he was, shivering on my doorstep, clutching a hospital wristband. I wanted to slam the door, to let him feel the rejection I'd carried for years. But something, maybe Grandma's voice in my head, made me step aside. He collapsed onto my couch, his breathing ragged. "Heart attack," he muttered. "No one else can help." His wife had passed, his kids were estranged, and the family he'd ruled with an iron fist had scattered. He needed a place to recover, someone to manage his meds, his appointments. Me? The irony was bitter. I stood there, arms crossed, torn between rage and duty. "Why me?" I demanded. "You made it clear I'm not family." His eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw something new: shame. "I was wrong," he whispered. I, I'm sorry. Sorry. The word felt like a slap. I wanted to scream, to list every scar his words had left. Instead, I poured him tea, my hands shaking. Over the next hour, he spilled his story. The family had unraveled after Grandma died. His kids resented his control. His siblings drifted away. He'd clung to his pride until the heart attack forced him to face reality. He was alone. And me, I was the last bridge he hadn't burned. I let him stay. Not out of forgiveness, but because I wasn't him. I wouldn't abandon someone in need, even if they'd abandoned me. The weeks that followed were a battlefield of emotions. Ray was stubborn, still barking orders like he hadn't lost everything. I was no saint either, I snapped back, dredging up old wounds. "You think you can just show up and I'll forget?" I'd yell. He'd go quiet, his face crumpling. But slowly, cracks formed in our armor. He'd notice my blueprints, ask about my work. I'd catch him smiling at my sketches, a flicker of pride in his eyes. One night, he told me about Grandma's last days, how she'd kept my old drawings in a box under her bed. I cried then, for her, for me, for the years stolen. Caring for Ray wasn't easy. His recovery was slow, his temper flared, and I wrestled with resentment daily. But there were moments, small, fragile ones, where I saw the man he could have been. He taught me card games we'd played as kids, his laugh rusty but real. I told him about my buildings, how each one felt like reclaiming a piece of myself, He listened, really listened. For the first time, one evening, he handed me a letter, his hands trembling. Read it later, he said. It was an apology, raw and unpolished, for every cruel word, every door he closed. He didn't ask for forgiveness, just for a chance to make it right. I didn't know if I could forgive him. Some wounds run too deep, but I started to see the cost of his pride, not just to me, but to him. He'd lost his family, his health, his sense of self. Was that punishment enough? I grappled with that question as I drove him to appointments, cooked meals he barely ate, and sat through his stories of a life I'd been cut out of. One night, he looked at me and said, "You're stronger than I ever was." Lila, it wasn't absolution, but it was something. Months passed. Ray got better, strong enough to move out. The day he left, we stood on my porch, the air heavy with unspoken words. "You don't owe me anything," he said, "but I'm proud of you." I nodded, my throat tight. I didn't say I forgave him, but I didn't slam the door either. As his car pulled away, I felt lighter, not healed, but unburdened. I'd chosen compassion over revenge, and that was my victory. The letter he'd written stayed on my desk for weeks. When I finally opened it again, I saw more than an apology. It was a mirror to my own choices. I could have become like Ray, bitter, rigid, holding on to grudges until they choked me. Instead, I'd built a life, not just buildings. I'd found family and friends, purpose in my work. Ray's return didn't erase the past, but it showed me I'd outgrown it. What would you do if the person who hurt you most came back? Asking for help, is forgiveness a gift to them or to yourself? Can you rebuild what's been broken? Or is it enough to just let go? Share your thoughts. Where do you stand on justice, family, and second chances?